welcome to the Metal Matters podcast. I'm Joe Dexter here on RoCo Radio. We're joined with President of Tri-State Steel, Steve Scott. Steve, how you doing?
I'm great, Joe Dexter. How are you, sir?
Man, I'm doing great. Glad to be here. Glad to talk metal because baseball has an off season. Now it's in full swing, but there's no off season for metal, is there? There just isn't.
Not much, Joe. Not in North Carolina. You know, the Northeast, with the winters, there'll be some off season. The scrap, I don't know if I've ever told you this, Joe, but did you know that if you take all of the recycled material in the world, everything that's recycled, and you take steel and separate that out, and you add up all the other recycled goods, that won't come to the amount of recycled material as steel is alone. It is the single most recycled thing in the world. And so the scrap in the Northeast, I went down a rabbit hole here, but the scrap in the Northeast in the wintertime is hard to collect because it's covered under snow and stuff like that. So in the Northeast, things do slow down some, but here in the Southeast, there really isn't a slowdown. It only slows down when construction slows down. And, there is a bit of a chug in the economy right now. Our hope is that it won't continue, but there is some feelings of slowdown. Election years are always really difficult years, Joe, in the economy. And this year's is certainly shaping up to be a challenge for a lot of people. And we'll just grind through it. It's what we do. The blue collar world that we live in at Tri-State Steel is accustomed to just grinding through things. And so that's what we do.
It's almost setting the tone for the climate, not adjusting to the climate.
Yeah. So one of the things that we've always talked about in the 35 years that I've been in this industry, do you know the story of the canary in the coal mine, Joe? Have you ever heard that story?
Yeah, but it's been a while.
Yeah, so back in the day, the miners used to carry a canary with them when they would go into the mines. And the reason they would do that is if the canary should die, they knew that there was high levels of gas in the mine and they needed to get out. And so it was their bellwether. It was their predictor. Before they could measure the gas with machines, they realized that the canary would be their point of emphasis. If that canary, something happened to it, it was time to go. The steel industry typically is a bellwether or canary for the economy overall. We tend to go into difficult times sooner, and we tend to come out of difficult times sooner. And I would say that things are a little challenging right now. And I think anybody, if you asked, would say, yeah, I don't feel great about what's going on in the economy right now. I don't feel like I have much money in my pocket, even if maybe I'm making more money than I've ever made before.
Yes.
And so, there's some challenges. The election year is always hard, and this year is not going to be any different. So we will survive it. We will get through it. It's a challenge. It's been great for our customers to have our retail store available to them. What maybe somebody would do in the past, Joe, is, hey, I'm going to buy full lengths of XYZ material. Let's say 3-inch channel, a 2-inch square tube, and a 1/4x2 flat bar. I'm just going to buy a couple of full lengths of all of it to work on my welding project or whatever, and I'll just keep the excess. Now what we're seeing is a whole bunch of people coming by the retail store and saying, I only need 6 feet of this to do this project. I'm only going to spend the money on 6 feet of product. And so we're really glad to offer that service to the community. And certainly we opened that store a year ago, Joe, and the response has been great. It's at 2513 Richardson Drive here in Reedsville, not far from Lowe's grocery store. And man, it's been super, super successful, and the community has really embraced it. And we're very grateful for the support.
One thing I noticed in March, celebrating that 1-year anniversary, over 3,000 customers in the doors. What does that mean to you?
Joe, I'm a pretty emotional guy, right? We've had this conversation before, and it always falls back to my dad. When we came here in 1989, 1988 actually, Tri-State Steel was only here to serve the local community, the local welding shops, the local farmers, the local textile and tobacco industry. He never intended to take a truckload of metal to Saluda, North Carolina, like we did yesterday. Don't know if you know where Saluda, North Carolina is. I'm not going to tell you that I knew where Saluda, North Carolina was until yesterday, but it's not far from Asheville. If you go down Highway 26 south out of Asheville, where you come up 74 to 26 out of Shelby, little town of Saluda. I don't have the faintest idea how this customer found Tri-State Steel, but they called and needed a bunch of square tubing for a project, and we took it to them. And we also had a truck yesterday. So we went to Saluda, which is way west, right? South and west of here. We also had a different truck that went to the other side of Richmond. My dad never thought that, it never crossed his mind that, Tri-State Steel would be that kind of company. And yet here we are. And so having this local retail store that allows people to really reconnect with us, it just feels good. I was at a local restaurant, I don't know, a couple of days ago, and maybe late last week, eating lunch with somebody. It was a business lunch, and somebody in the community stopped and said, "Hey, can I interrupt for just a second?" And then told a story about how grateful he was that we had this retail store available, because he's had the best experiences and he's enjoyed the employees so much. And man, that's just a great feeling, right? It just feels really good. So I'm proud of it. I'm proud of what it's done. I'm proud of Jeff and Amber and the team over there that have grown it. It's nearly tripled in size since we first opened it. It's stuffed absolutely full. If you haven't been there in a while, if you were an early on customer a year ago and you haven't been in a while, it's time to come back, because it is a very filled little place, and people are really enjoying it. So I'm really happy about that.
Everything too cut to your specifications. How you need it is how you guys deliver it or provide it.
Absolutely. At that facility, we literally had somebody the other day spend 90 cents. Right? They literally bought a piece of metal. I don't know if you can see me on camera, literally about that big. And but that's what we're there for, right? That's what he needed. That's what we're there for. And it brings me a lot of pleasure to know that we're serving that need for the community. I'm really glad we were able to do it.
One thing that I wanted to talk to you about that I saw, I think this is amazing. You look at soccer and its growth across the country. Right here, we have our own team in the area and a community sponsor, Tri-State Steel, helping them out. Tell us a little bit about the Foxes and Tri-State Steel's involvement as a sponsor.
Yeah, that's such a great story. So we're a soccer family. I know that you are a dance family. You have girls just like I had girls, and being a girl dad is a very important and special role that you and I both get to share. Mine are all grown up now. Yours are just getting started. But before we were a horse family, which we're pretty deep into the horse world. But before we were a horse family, we were a soccer family. And really it came about through my work at UNCG, Joe. One of the students there took an internship with the Foxes, and I reached out to her and said, "Hey, I really feel like this is a great opportunity for Tri-State Steel to engage in the broader community." This was way back in 2022 when this all started, and we've been working on it. We were the very first corporate entity to reach out to them as a sponsor, and So the team at Carolina Core and Tri-State Steel have been working on being partners since 2022, and it's finally happening June the 1st. So if you go to our website for the retail store, which is www.tristateretail.com, there's a link that you can sign up to win 4 tickets to the inaugural event June the 1st at Truist Park in High Point. And I can assure you they are ready, and it is going to be a great event. And we are very, very excited to be a part of what they're doing. They're doing this for the right reasons. MLS Next is AAA. If you're a baseball fan like you and I, Joe, MLS Next is AAA baseball. It's right below MLS, and it's the feeder that will feed right into MLS. So these young men that you see playing are going to be on the world stage in the next couple of years, and the talent is really great. And I've had a chance to get to watch them play a couple of times. The passion's going to be fantastic, and it's going to be a very, very popular thing. So we're on board for the next 3 years, and we couldn't be happier about it.
I saw that you got to see the facilities down there at Truist Park a couple weeks ago. I imagine that's an amazing facility.
It's really nice, and they're doing some really nice renovations. It's got Joe. I can't imagine how popular this is going to be. I think that they're going. Well, I will tell you this: they have something called the dugout, and because it used to be a baseball field, corporately you can lease out the dugout of what used to be the baseball field to entertain clients or customers or whatever. And each time you get the dugout, there's 50 tickets, and there's 2 opportunities for every game. The Carolina Core Football Club has already sold out those dugouts for the next 3 years. There's not,
wow.
You can't take your clients there for the next 3 years. It's too late. That's how popular this is going to become. It's really exciting.
It is too. When you look at the growth of soccer too, and my kids, they play at the Y, they play soccer and they enjoy it. But seeing that professional of a level that close, I mean, I was looking at the schedule, like they're playing the New York Red Bulls secondary team. Like this is real soccer at its finest.
Yeah, it's as good as it can get. You know, the local college scene in soccer is very strong with Wake Forest and Carolina and Duke, and UNCG's got a really good soccer program, was one of the best in the nation. This is a level significantly above that. It is very, very high level soccer. And some of these kids are as young as 15 years old.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And it's been really fun for me to be kind of behind the scenes. The group that's operating the core is got a ton of MLS experience. Roy Lassiter's the coach, and he was part of the American national team forever. And I've gotten to see a little bit, a little lift the curtain, the Oz thing, and get to see behind the curtain and how they're doing things. And they are doing this the right way, and it is really exciting. We can't wait for June the 1st for the first game. We think it's going to be really popular. We've had a bunch of people already sign up to try to win the tickets, and we're encouraging the whole community to try to win them, because we want our community to run down to High Point for these games, because we don't want anybody to miss out. And so we're very excited.
That's one thing I appreciate about them too, is as Carolina Core, they're trying to embrace the whole core of this area, not just High Point. That's why they're not a name by a High Point name. They really are trying to embrace all the communities around, and I think that's a great thing. And you can get those tickets. You can sign up for them at tri-state-steel-retail.com. Get you signed up.
Yeah, we are excited, and we're excited. We're excited for our employees. Part of the package for us, of course, has the ability to get season tickets. So we've got some tickets that we'll be able to share with our employees, and hopefully we can find some employees here. Like everybody else in the county, we're struggling for finding employees. It's not unique to Tri-State Steel, but certainly if you are interested in a new job, a new career path. If we are a second chance company, if you've had some trouble, it's okay. Let's talk about it. But we are hiring for inside sales. We are hiring for truck drivers. We are hiring for warehouse workers. We're hiring for administrative folks. It is a very challenging time to find employees in Rockingham County, Joe, and Tri-State Steel is not alone in that, but we're not immune to it either. So, come work at Tri-State Steel and we'll send you to a soccer game to boot, right?
Share with us what you're looking for in that inside sales position a little bit.
Our hope, of course, was to find somebody with some experience, but maybe that's not what's out there, Joe. What we need is somebody who is driven, somebody who's competitive, somebody who wants to go for it, somebody who understands details and accepts that details are really important, somebody who wants to learn. It could be a position for somebody with absolutely no continuing education past high school. We're not opposed to that. Or it could be somebody with a ton of experience. Either way, you probably don't know the metal industry, and we're willing to teach that to you. So, we would love for somebody to come along and say, hey, let's talk about this position and see if we can give them the opportunity to grow their career.
You can send your resume today and reach out for more info at tri-statesteel.com for that inside sales job. Well, I'm going to probably open a can of worms here with this question, but how do we approach that issue with employment and employees, basically being able to build up a workforce that is needed?
Joe, if I had that answer, I would probably not be selling steel anymore. I'd probably be on Mark Robinson's election campaign committee spouting how I was going to help create the next governor's economic, who knows?
Right.
It's so far above my pay grade, Joe. I don't have that answer. I know that it's a concern. I know that we have a major human capital shortage. I know that there is a large group of people not unemployed, but simply not engaged in the workforce. Unemployment only measures people who have been out of work and are actively pursuing work. Those numbers are somewhat flawed from a historical perspective. There is a very large number of people who are not engaged in the workforce. That's not a Rockingham County problem. That's a Carolina Core problem. That's a North Carolina problem. That's a Southeastern United States problem. That's a United States problem. It's a vast issue. I don't know how to re-engage those people, Joe. If I did, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you about how we don't have any employees. I know that some of it has to do with childcare.
Yeah.
If you and your wife are both working full-time jobs and your child gets sick and you don't have family to help you care for them, what do you do?
Yeah.
Right? What happens? I'm not suggesting that the government should be in charge of caring for anybody's child. It's not what I'm trying to say. But we do have to address the child care issue. If a single mom would like to be in the workforce, or a single dad would like to be in the workforce, but they simply can't take a job because they don't have child care, what do we do? Again, I don't have the answers to that. I don't know. I know that it's a problem. I know there are people in the community like Don Sharaba, thought leaders in our community who also understand that this is a problem and are trying to put their heads together. I ran across Commissioner Richardson the other day, County Commissioner Richardson. He asked me about it. I know he knows about it. But knowing about a problem and knowing the solution, they're just really vastly different things. I don't know. I'm deeply concerned about the human capital crisis um, that we're facing. Uh, Purina's having trouble. Um, the casinos having trouble. Farmina's having trouble, and those are just the three big new companies. Let alone all of us who've been here forever. And so now what I'm seeing is company ABC is hiring company DEF's employee,
Yeah.
who's then going out and trying to find G's employee. And none of us are re-engaging anybody into the workforce. We're just taking each other's workforce. That is not healthy. But we all have to stay in business. So
Right.
what do you do? I wish I had an answer.
So let's focus on the capital that we do know about, those that are interested potentially in working at Tri State Steel. Your message to them as maybe what separates Tri State Steel and as a workforce area for them, what makes it a little bit different there, and what some of you things that you focus on.
I think one of the things, Joe, that we talk about an awful lot is a lot of people are concerned that they're going to go somewhere and the job's going to last 3 months and they're going to get laid off because it's seasonal. It's just for the summer, or the company just put out a new line and oh, that line didn't work out. We've been here 35 years. We always have hours. There's plenty of work to be done. You never have to worry about whether or not you're going to have enough hours in your day. I think that appeals to people. I think that we are kind of a no nonsense company. And I think that the right people like that, come in, get to work, do your thing. And there's not a lot of time, excess time to do much. You just get in and do your work and go home. We're a blue collar company that works really hard. And I think that appeals to the right people. I also think it doesn't appeal to everybody. I tell people all the time, we're not for everybody. But what we would like for people to do is come out and talk to us, and we're very transparent. I hate that word because it's overused, but we're super transparent. I'm sitting in a steel warehouse right now. I'll walk you back here and show you all the things and show you how it's done. And we try really hard to teach you, be really good teachers, and give you a chance to take the next step. I've always felt like we were really good at helping people take the next step in their life. And that's important to me. That matters. I want to be able to help people, not employ people.
I think that's a key part of it right there. It's making it more than just a connection there that, well, it is important than the 9 to 5 aspect of it, right? The showing up and doing your job, but there's more to it in order to have success. There's more than just punching a time clock to have success on both aspects of it.
I think so. I think that we've been given a message as a society that this whole thing is supposed to be easy, that somehow this is supposed to be easy. And the reality is getting ahead in life isn't easy. It entails making good decisions and making good choices and representing yourself a certain way and choosing to live life to a certain standard. You can just so easily slide into not living to the standards you really want to uphold for yourself. And then you get caught up in the frustration of not being what you thought you would be at age 27 or 37 or 47, and feeling down on yourself and being a little bit bitter. And I don't buy into that idea, right? And I think that, it's a chance. Coming to Tri-State Steel is a chance for a reset. If you're not happy where you are and you're not satisfied with where you are, maybe you come try us and allow us to help you reset and start again and become what you really wanted to become in the first place, right? And that's, I tell people all the time, if we successfully sell metal but we don't make any impact at all, we have failed. And so the goal is to try to make an impact.
It's the Metal Matters podcast with Tri-State Steel President Steve Scott. Steve, thanks for your time. We look forward to talking to you later this month.
I appreciate you, Joe. Always good to see you, and I love that hat.
It's the best hat in all of hats. You know what? It's getting a little bit weird. I'm gonna have to grab a new one soon.
Sounds
Plus,
good.
I need a color assortment, right?
That's right. That's right. And we look forward to seeing you, my friend.
All righty, take care.
All right, Joe. Thank you, sir.